بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وعلى أصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. One of the most essential stories of the Quran, especially in this era, especially at this part of the year, is the story of Maryam alayhi salam. Basically, the word Maryam means someone who is dedicated for ibadah, someone who excessively worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is said that when the mother of Maryam alayhi salam, Hanna bin Fakhud, when she discovered that the baby which she will deliver is not a boy, is a girl, so she was disappointed because she wanted to dedicate her son for the temple, for the worshipping place, to be fully dedicated for ibadah and nothing else. But when she discovered that it's a girl, so she was thinking like, how can I dedicate a girl for this duty which is having lots of burden? So she decided to name her daughter herself as Maryam, who means someone who's fully dedicated, someone who's fully appointed to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hoping that maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make her dream true and make Maryam alayhi salam one of the most closely related women in the world to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by His mercy, He made that dream true for Hannah, the mother of Maryam alayhi salam. Maryam alayhi salam comes from a very pious progeny. The Quran itself says that Maryam is the daughter of Imran. And there are many Mufassirun who believe that Imran was a prophet. And today if you go to Oman, to Salada, you will find the grave of Prophet Imran. Allah knows better, is it a real grave or something fabricated just to make a business? Allah knows better. However, our historians and many scholars believe that Imran himself, the mother of Maryam alayhi salam, was a prophet. If not a prophet, at least a priest, a saintly person, who was famous for leading people in the prayer in Bayt al-Maqdis, in Palestine, and that's why people loved him. And when Maryam was born, because she lost her father before her birth, everyone in the temple wanted to take over Maryam. They wanted to serve Maryam, to take care of, because the father is already dead. It's an orphan baby. And Zakaria alayhi salam was inspired by God that those who want to have Maryam, those who want to take care of Maryam alayhi salam, they should come to make a draw. And then they will decide that who should deserve the guardianship of Maryam alayhi salam. And that's why the Quran says in Ali Imran, إِذْ يُلْقُونَ أَقْلَامَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ يَكْفُلُ مَرْيَمَ, that they were throwing the pen with which they used to write the Torah, the Gospels, or the Old Testament. The pen which they used to write the words of God with, they took those pens to make a draw. And all of them together collectively threw the pen which they used to write the verses of God. They threw it in it is said in one of the rivers, river of Jordan, one was better, which river was that? The name of the river is not mentioned in the Quran, but the historians, they say it was a river. So they took the pen and threw their pen in the river to find out who will deserve the guardianship of Maryam alayhi salam. And the thing was that if your pen moves opposite to the trend, then you are the one who will deserve the girl. So all of them, all the priests who were there, the writers, the scribes who were there in the temple, they took the pen and they threw in the water to find out who will deserve the baby. And all of them, when they threw the pen went with the current, except for Zakaria alayhi salam. Zakaria alayhi salam, his pen went against the current, in the opposite way, in the miraculous way. Thus he deserved the guardianship of the girl, of the baby. And that's why Allah says, وَكَفَّلَهَا Zakaria, that the guardianship of Maryam alayhi salam was given to Zakaria, or Zachariah, whatever. So these are some scenes, Quranic scenes which are given in the Quran, in different parts of the Quran, which you may not find, some of which you may not find in the scriptures of other faiths. Even in Christian scripture, you may not find these defined details which are mentioned in the Quran. which shows us that how authentic is Quran and how detailed is Quran. After her birth, Zakaria alayhi salam, or Maryam's mother, Hannah, she decided to dedicate Maryam for ibadah. And to make this thing true, Zakaria alayhi salam, who was one of the relatives of Maryam alayhi salam, so he decided to make a special place, like a chapel, like a room in the temple, in Baytul Maqdis for Maryam alayhi salam, so that she can have full privacy there and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So she was kept there from childhood. And Ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he comments on these verses of Maryam alayhi salam, he says that Maryam alayhi salam, in her childhood, by the time she reached 9 years old, she started fasting excessively and reciting the book excessively and worshipping and praying to God excessively. We have many narrations that Maryam alayhi salam used to stand in prayer for the entire night. There are many, and that's why the Quran says, وَكَانَتْ مِنَ الْقَانِتِينَ. Qaniteen is a title which is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for very serious people of ibadah. It's not a title which is given for normal people. And Allah uses this title, Qaniteen, for Maryam alayhi salam, وَكَانَتْ مِنَ الْقَانِتِينَ, that she's amongst those who stand in servitude for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely for a lengthy period of time. She's dedicated. That's Qaniteen. So this was a brief introduction about Maryam alayhi salam. Let's come to Surah Maryam, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about her story in a wonderful way. So here in verse number 16 it says, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ إِذِ انْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا مَكَانًا شَرْقِيًّا. And O Muhammad, mention in the book the story of Maryam alayhi salam. Means in your book, O Muhammad, in your Quran, you have to mention the story of Maryam alayhi salam. See how wonderful is this? There are many people who are good, many women who are good, but Maryam alayhi salam is having a special surah which is dedicated for her, which carries her name, and in which the messenger is being ordered by name that you have to mention Maryam in your book. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ إِذِ انْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا مَكَانًا شَرْقِيًّا. And let the people know that when she became pregnant, she went towards the east, or when she became old, she became towards an eastern place in her city. Now the Mufassirun, the people who come to interpret, they give different interpretations here, that why did she go to this eastern place? What was the purpose? Why Allah mentions this thing here? Many of them say that this was a place where Maryam alayhi salam used to purify herself, used to change her clothes, used to take bath in this place, and to prepare herself for the ibadah, to prepare herself to serve God in the temple. For that purpose, in order to purify herself, she used to go to a place which was towards the east of Baytul Maqdis. And in this place where she used to go to purify herself, to clean herself, to meet God in the temple, so in this place comes Jibreel with the good news for her. فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا. فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا. She used to have a veil. So this shows that even at that time women used to cover themselves. This is hijab. فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا. She used to maintain a veil between herself and between others. She went to the eastern place because it's an open place. She would make a veil, something which covers her. At that place that other people cannot see her. And now this shows you that how modest, how chaste this woman was. And that's why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the best woman of the world is Asya bint Muzahim, the woman of Fir'aun, and Maryam alayhi salam, and Khadija, and Fatima bint Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. These women, each one amongst these women were considered to be the best women in her time, when they were existing in their lives. So Allah is saying, فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا. She took a hijab for herself, a veil for herself, to prevent herself from others, from being witnessed or seen by others. And then what happened? فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحا. It says فأرسلنا إليها. It starts with fa. Means immediately when she took the hijab, when she made that barrier between her and between others in the community, at that time, immediately after having the barrier, what happened? فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا. We had sent to her our ruh, means our spirit. This Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel is, in different occasions in the Quran, Jibreel is called as ruh. Ruh means the spirit. نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينَ. The Quran was sent down in the hands of Ruh al-Amin, which is the most trustworthy spirit. That's Ruh al-Amin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to us that when Maryam alayhi salam, she went to the eastern place where she used to clean herself and prepare herself for ibadat. At that place, when she used that veil, when she placed that veil, immediately after placing that, when she was not expecting anyone to come to that place, she went actually to that place because no one comes to that place. And here, when she was not expecting anyone to come, here comes Jibreel alayhi salam. فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. And see the trial here. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. That Jibreel came and presented himself as بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Basharan said, a perfect, good-looking, handsome human being. And she is lonely in this place where no one was, and there's a veil which is preventing her. And in this privacy comes Jibreel in a perfect manner, in a symmetric manner. So this is a test for her. And see her response. See the response of a pious woman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the response of this pious woman and says, قَالَتْ إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِالرَّحْمَنِ. She said, immediately, I seek refuge in God. Instead of saying anything else, any ill statement, she said immediately, in the hour. This shows that how close she is related with Allah. The first one to remember when she is in this situation is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes when we are in a difficult situation, we start remembering our friends or our brothers or this and that. Maryam alayhi salam gives us a lesson. And those who are always closely related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they are in a trial, they immediately remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is the best friend for them. They live with Allah, so they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. Now see the eloquence of these verses which fully displays the feelings of Maryam alayhi salam. It says, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن. I seek refuge in Rahman from you. إن كنت تقيا. Even if you are a pious man. Forget about being an evil person or a wrongdoer or whatever. Mischief doer, whatever. Even if you're a pious man, I seek refuge in Allah from you. I don't want anyone, whether pious or non-pious, I don't want, at this place I don't want anyone. أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. So she's leaving no room to make any fuss with her, any trouble with her at this point. قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. And immediately Jibreel alayhi salam uncovers himself and he says, I'm not a normal human being. I am an angel who's sent to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So be calm, do not fear from me. So he says, قال إنما أنا رسول الله إنما أنا رسول ربك. That know that surely I am the Rasul, the messenger who's sent by your Lord, the Lord whom you seek refuge in and you worship day and night. I'm a messenger from his side to convey a message to you. قال إنما أنا رسول ربك. I am nothing except a messenger from your Lord. So these angels are messengers, they carry messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word malaika or malak in Arabic comes from the same, carries the same meaning. Someone who carries a letter, a message is called as malak. So these malaika, these angels are carrying letters from Allah, carrying messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's why they are malaika. And Jibreel does the same thing. By the way, Jibreel, in many occasions, even in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, he used to come in a very handsome, with a very handsome look. Appearance. Yeah, and some of the Sahaba would say that we saw him in the shape of Dihyatul Kalbi. Dihya bin Khalifa al-Kalbi was one of the most handsome amongst the Arabs. قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. I'm the messenger of your Lord who comes to you to grant you a pious, a clean, a pure, Zakiya could be pure, a pure son, Ghulaman Zakiya. I'm here to grant you by the command of God a pure son. قالت أن يكون لي غلام. And she said, how can I have a son? How can I have a son? أن يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر, and no men touched me. ولم أكن بغيا, no, I was an immoral woman. So Maryam alayhi salam, this shows that she was quite old. And here this shows that when she's speaking in this manner, she's saying that no man touched me and I'm not an immoral woman. This shows that she understands life, she understands different dimensions of life, she's grown up enough to discuss these matters. The importance of this is that there are some historians from different sects, from different groups and from different denominations and different faiths who say that when Maryam alayhi salam gave birth to Isa, she was almost 9 years old. And some say that 10 years, 12. But this kind of speech and explanation is not something which we expect from a child at that age. So it shows that she was grown up enough to understand this kind of discussion or to make this kind of discussion. There are opinions which says that 16 or 18, some opinions and so on. However, the Quran didn't mention any age. But the discussion shows that she was mature enough that she can explain things and understand things and handle a discussion. A child in his under 9 years, he can never handle such a discussion. He won't even understand what's happening in this world. قالت إني أن يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here that Jibreel says to Maryam alayhi salam, قال كذلك قال رب. This is the will of your Lord. This is what He said, and this will become true. Means you like it, you don't like it. This is said by Allah, so it will become true. And that's why another surah, in the coming verse it will say, وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًا. It is decided by God. You don't have a say in it. It's a trial in which you have to be. This is what's decided by God. And the more pious you are, the more taqwa you have, as the Messenger ﷺ says, the higher is the difficulty of the trial in which you are put. And we always believe that these trials are occasions for human beings to display the loyalty and love and faithfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We always know that when a person loves someone, he always wants to display his love. And if you didn't give him an opportunity to display his love, you may kill that person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through these trials, He gives the righteous opportunities to display their love. That these people, they will display their love to Allah by showing that although the trial is severe, yet I am stick to you, Almighty Allah. Yet I have faith in you, Almighty Allah. Yet I am ready to sacrifice everything for you. And that's the essence of the trials. And you can imagine she's a Jewish woman. She's living amongst the Israelites. And amongst the Israelites, if a woman comes with a baby without a father, then she could be stoned till death. This severe is the scene going to be. And she knows all these severities. She knows the severe law which is there. And it's a big trouble for her now. But she'll accept the trial because it's a trial in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting her. قالت أن يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين. Jibreel further says that this is an easy task for you, Lord. هو علي هين. It's an easy thing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You may find it difficult, you may find it miraculous or whatever, whatnot, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it's hayyin. Hayyin means easy. And you have in the Quran in Surah Al Imran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ آدَمَ. The likeness of Isa in the sight of Allah is like Adam alayhi. Both of them were created without father. So if you accept that Adam is created without father, so what's the difficulty? To accept that Isa was also created without father. And that verse, which is in Surah Al Imran, in the Mathala Isa in the like Mathali Adam, the likeness of Isa in the sight of Allah is like Adam alayhi salam, is in the context of debate with the people of Najran. When the people of southern Arabia, Najran, they came to Prophet Muhammad to debate about nature, the nature of Jesus. By the way, it's a debate which is still there in the religious circles, that what is the nature, and that because of nature of Jesus, we have Protestants, we have Catholics, and we have Orthodox, and all the Jehovah's Witnesses and whatnot. All these denominations are because of the differences they have about the nature of Jesus, nature of God, the substance. They have some same substance, different substance, adopted son, non-adopted son, and that discussion never comes to an end. And Quran gives an easy answer that as Adam was created without father, this man Isa is created without father. So if you can accept that, why is it difficult for you to accept this? Why do you go to all those discussions for which you have no answer? They went into the Council of Nicaea, the Council of Antioch, and different councils. And these councils brought nothing to them except more of divisions. More confusion for them. So these councils were not solving the problem. And at the end of the day, Arius, he detached himself from all these groups and councils, and says, no, Isa was only an adopted son, means someone who's accepted by God as a righteous servant. That's adopted son, not a begotten son. And that's why the Arius and his people were brutally killed by the Catholics and by the Orthodox. Both the churches, they declare them as heretic people. Even today, amongst as we say, people of Bid'ah, for them the people of heresy, amongst one of the prominent people of heresy is Arius. The Prophet ﷺ, in his letter to the Roman king, the king of the Roman Empire, when he was writing letters to the kings of the kingdoms at his time, he wrote that O king, if you do not accept faith, then you should know that the sin of killing Arius and his people will be upon you. And many people didn't understand, where did the Prophet brought this term Arius? Who told the Prophet about Arius? Even Ibn Hajar, one of the best commenters of Sahih Bukhari, he's confused when he comments that who's Arius? He said these are some farmers who used to live at that time and so on. This is the man, the Libyan man, who used to say clearly to the people that Isa is not the son of God. He's a normal human being, but he was a righteous human being. Let's not go to that discussion. Let's come back to Maryam alayhi salam. So she says here, قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين. So Jibreel says to Maryam alayhi salam, قال كذلك قال ربك. This is what your Lord decided for you. هو علي هين. It's easier for him. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. And we want to make him, raise him as a sign reflecting God's greatness and mercy. آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. It's a matter which is already decided. مَقْضِيًّا, that's qada, something which is decided. Now the question here that, why did Jibreel say here that وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً, we want to raise him as a sign for the people, and rahmah, a sign for the people, because they were glad tidings and there were verses in the Old Testament which were speaking about a mercy coming to them, a Messiah coming to them. And that sign Allah had to establish it because it's His promise. And this was the sign which Allah established. The Messiah is not the Dajjal. Messiah is Masih, or Isa alayhi salam, which Allah promised him, and Allah raised him for the people of Bani Israel, but they didn't understand. They labeled him, they tried to kill him, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised him. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا, and he's also sent as a mercy by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the remedies he used to bring for his people, because he used to cure the people who were suffering from leprosy and other diseases. That's why he was one of the mercy of Allah, a sign of Allah's mercy. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا, and this is a matter which is already decided by Allah. فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا. فحملته means she became pregnant. And how did she become pregnant? Is it only by the message coming to her that she became pregnant? Another verse of Surah Al-Tahrim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the procedure in which she became pregnant. So the verse in Surah Al-Tahrim says, فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا, that Jibreel alayhi salam blew in her womb. That blew, that ruh, that soul, that spirit which was blown in her womb, that caused her to become pregnant. That was the cause of pregnancy of Maryam alayhi salam, without any intervention of men in the scene. فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا. فحملته, she, after becoming pregnant, فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا, she went to a farther place. مكانا قصيا means a far place where no one can reach her, because now she knows that shame is waiting for her, troubles are waiting for her, blame is waiting for her. So she went to a far place, a remote place, that's مكانا قصيا, and no one can see her. فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة. And when she was next to a جذع النخلة, means next to a date palm, at that place the time for labor reached her. She reached to a point where labor approached her, and the pains of giving birth, delivering child approached her. And this is a very severe moment for every woman. فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. She said, I wish if I died before having this, or before witnessing this scene. I wish if I had died and وكنت نسيا منسيا and totally forgotten my people. But I wish if I had died before the happening of this matter and I was fully forgotten by the people. Two reasons are mentioned by the Mufassirin in this regard. Why did she say this? Why did she wish if she was totally forgotten or she didn't live till this point of her life? The first is because of the labor and pain. Because this pain is so severe that women know that it causes them to feel that it's the final part of their life. And the second is because of the torture she will witness from her own people. These two reasons caused her to say what she said. Now, when she is in this pain and she's suffering from these type of feelings, severe feelings, at this point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there was something which was said to her to calm her down. As she remembered Allah, when she was approached by Jibreel alayhi salam, Allah remembered her when she is in trouble now. See how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calm her down when she was in this situation, a situation of distress, a situation of pain, a situation of trouble, uncertainty. At this point, Allah is saying to her, فَنَادَى, that fa, when fa comes, fa is different from thumma. Fa means immediately. Immediately after this, so and so happened. That's fa. فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا. So immediately, the one who was under her called her. Who's under her? Two opinions are there. It's Jibreel alayhi salam, who was close to her, and the second opinion was Isa alayhi salam, who was under her, who spoke to her, which was about to give birth. At this point, now this person who called her, what did it say to her? فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا أَلَّا تَحْزَنْ, do not grieve. He said to her, do not grieve. And most probably it's Isa alayhi salam saying to his mother, do not grieve. أَلَّا تَحْزَنِ قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. Don't you see that your Lord had created a river underneath you? As He is creating a river underneath you, likewise He'll create some peace for you when you are in the trouble. فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا, the one who's under her called her, أَلَّا تَحْزَنِي, do not grieve. قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا, your Lord has made and created a river running underneath you. وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ, and try to shake the date palm which is next to you. تَسَاقَطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا, it will send down upon you dates, fresh dates. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي, eat from them and drink from the water. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّ عَيْنًا, and be calm. Be calm. Allah is saying to her, be calm, because Allah will find a solution for you. This is a task which is placed upon you, and Allah will find a solution for you. She's afraid of her people. She's afraid of the torture that she will give, they're going to give her, and the punishment which she will face, because the law said that they should be stoned. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا. So eat and drink and be calm, or have coolness in your eyes. The literal translation, وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا. And if you saw a man speaking with you about the matter, just say that I vow to God to be in a state of fasting. فَلَنُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنسِيًّا. Thus I will not speak to any human being today. This is the fasting of speech, which was in early nations. They used to fast. The fasting of speech, the Sawm al-Kalam, that they will not speak the whole day. Zakaria used to do the same thing. Maryam used to do the same thing. Righteous people amongst Bani Israel used to do the same thing. And they will do the Sawm of Kalam, the fasting against speech. They will not speak for the whole day. This law was abrogated in Islam. There is no fasting of speech in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ said that there is no fasting of speech, but a person can increase his remembrance of God if he doesn't want to speak. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse is touching upon the matter out of which she is having a fear. She's having a fear that if anyone saw me with this baby, the immediate question will be, where did you get this baby from? You're not supposed to have it. You're supposed to be in the temple. You're a righteous woman. And that's why they'll say, Ya Ukhta Harun, oh sister of Harun. She's not the sister of Harun. But they call her sister of Harun because she was like Harun in ibadat, in her devotion. So this is the last thing they're going to expect from Maryam, that she'll bring a child with her. So Allah is calming her down and saying, فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا. If you see a person, do not speak. Just keep quiet and say, I'm fasting. And let the speech matter for Allah. Let the defending session for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will defend you. Now she doesn't know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defend her. But she knows that Allah said to her something, Allah will fulfill what He said. فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا تَحْمِلُ. Now see, this verse says, فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا. She carried the baby and she came to her people. Instead of people coming to her, she went to the people. How did she have this courage? After being in distress and fear, now she's having this courage to take this baby, whose father is unknown, and she took it and went to the people herself. It is because her trust on the promise of God. God promised her that I'm going to defend you. You just say that you are fasting, do not speak. You just keep quiet and let the thing be upon us. So she, out of her trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she carried the baby and she went to the children of Israel, Bani Israel. فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا. On seeing the baby, immediately they said, قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا. Oh Maryam, you came with something which is very evil, very bad. And they knew at that time that Maryam is unmarried. There are some narrations which say that Maryam, she got a proposal from a man whom they call as Yusuf al-Najjar, Joseph the carpenter, who was a very righteous person, and they were about to get married, but they didn't get married, and because of this, the law at that time was allowing the people who are engaged with one another, even if they're not married, to live with one another. So some of them doubted that this might be the son of Joseph the carpenter. All those doubts were there, confusions were there because of this matter. And Maryam was quiet. Now this is the beginning of the accusation which she's facing. Immediately on seeing it, they said, قَالُوا يَا مَرْيَمُ لَقَدْ جِئْتِ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا. You are coming with something which is very evil. That's fariyya. Ya Ukhta Harun, O sister of Aaron, O sister of Harun, ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء. Your father never did such a shameful thing. وما كانت أمك بغية. Or your mother was an evil woman. So now they are making it very specific that you specifically did something wrong. This cannot happen without a wrong action. And there's some confusion which some people have about this verse number 29 of Surah Maryam, 28 of Surah Maryam, which says, Ya Ukhta Harun, O sister of Aaron. We know that Harun was in the time of Musa alayhi salam. So Harun and Musa are brothers. And Isa came after Harun by almost 1,500 years. So how can she be the sister of Harun? Sister of a man who lived 1,500 years back? This is impossible. And because of that, you will find some Orientalists, they say this is one of the mistakes, historical mistakes in the Quran which Muhammad performed. Muhammad he himself was asked about the question that why Maryam is called a sister of Harun. And the Prophet answered by saying because of her righteousness. She was like Harun in righteousness. And at that time people used to attribute to people to one another based on the similarities.
Their character.
Their character. And so on. So it's that simple. No need to doubt the entire story because something which you do not understand properly. And even today, amongst the Arabs, this tradition is still there. If you, let's say for instance, you are as good in writing, for instance, or in poetry, let's say you are as good as Zuhair, or Ka'ab, or one of the Shu'ara, Imru al-Qais, they will say, Ya Ukhta Imra al-Qais, Ya Akha Imra al-Qais, they will say, O brother of Imra al-Qais. It's not because you are his brother, it's because you both make very nice of stanzas of poetry. And that's it. So those who do not understand the Arabic styles of speech, they get in this problem. That's why today in the universities they study the Arabic styles of speech. You have to understand the styles, the moods of speech in Arabic language, so that you understand better why Allah is using these phrases. Ya Ukhta Harun, ma kana abuki imra'a saw. O sister of Aaron, your father was not a bad man. وَمَا كَانَتْ أُمُّكِ بَغِيًّا. Nor your mother was an evil woman. Mother is Hannah, was a righteous woman. Hannah was not having children for a lengthy period of time. And when she made dua, her dua was accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and she was given a child, a baby child. And this shows that Hannah used to eat halal rizq. And that's why her dua is accepted. If someone eats haram, his dua is never accepted. And this shows that how righteous these people were. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about her father that إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى آدَمَ وَنُوحًا وَآلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَآلَ عِمْرَانَ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. That amongst the chosen people in the sight of Allah is they, Adam, Nuh, children of Ibrahim and children of Imran. These are chosen people in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Maryam is amongst the chosen people. And now the problem is that these chosen people, Maryam is from a chosen progeny and she's coming with this child. يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغية فأشارت إليه. She pointed towards the baby. فأشارت إليه. And the baby will speak now. فأشارت إليه. قالوا كيف نكذب. أشارت means she didn't speak. So she is maintaining the command of God. God said to her not to speak. So she is not speaking. But maybe she was inspired by God to point towards the baby, and that's why she pointed without speaking. And this matter of inspiration coming to women and the possibility of women being a prophet or no, this is also a discussion amongst the scholars of Aqidah who have two opinions in this regard. Some say yes, a woman can be a prophet, and that's why Maryam was inspired by God because she is also a prophet and so on. A lengthy discussion which might not be very fruitful in this session. فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا. So she pointed to the baby in a way which is saying to her, you better speak to the baby, not to me. He's going to answer you. So their response was, قالوا كيف نكلم. How can we speak to this baby? من كان في المهد, so was still in the age of cradle. How can he speak to such a small baby? قال إني عبد الله. Now this is the khutbah, the speech which Isa ibn Maryam will make in his childhood. And you may not find this speech and this scene, this specific scene, in other scriptures. This is something which is specific to Quran. قال إني عبد الله. And this might be one of the reasons that they were amazed by the speech of the child, that they did punish Maryam alayhi salam. One of the reasons could be. قال إني عبد الله. So he said, I'm the servant of God. إني عبد الله. See, from the first day he's saying, I'm the servant of God. He's not saying, I am God or the Son of God. He didn't say that. And we all know that the matter of being Son of God comes from the mingling between these Christians and between the Romans. When Christianity reached to the Roman Empire and to other places where they're already having the concept of God coming, Apollo coming down the hill, and then having relation with some woman, having a child, Hercules and so on. Those concepts, those legends were all there in the minds, in the literature. When these people went to those places, met with those people and lived with them and introduced these concepts, which were there in their scripture, introduced to them, they understood in their own way.
They related to it.
And then they became the rulers. The Roman became the rulers. They started ruling these religious people and they interpreted the verses in their own manner. And they became more effective than these. And that's why Isa alayhi salam always used to say that I was sent to the children or the lost sheep of house of Israel. Means this message cannot be understood by people outside the community of the Israelites. It's not for them. They are not mature enough to understand this. This fits you people only. But Paul decided to take it outside and start his own way of preaching Christianity. He went to the Roman Empire, he went to Damascus, he went to different places, and from those interaction with other nations, this confusion came into Christianity. So Isa alayhi salam, for his first day, he's saying that قال إني عبد الله. The first word which he said, إني عبد الله, I am the servant of God. آتاني الكتاب, he granted me the book. وجعلني نبيا, and he made me a Nabi. These three descriptions are the descriptions of the Prophet or the Messiah whom they were waiting. So this is the Messiah you were waiting for. That he will speak in his childhood. He will be the servant of God, and he will be given a book, and he will make him a prophet. Subhanallah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that because of the fisq and the evil deeds of the people, Allah misguide them. When the people are misguided, it's not because Allah hates them. It's because of the evil things which they do. فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ, because of the dhulm which they create, that they were misguided. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ, Allah said. That if you continue doing fisq, do not expect guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do all the wrong things, you eat riba, you disappoint your parents, you do not give rights to your family members, you do not read the book, do not follow the book, you break the laws, do all the fisq, and then you expect Allah to guide you. Guidance doesn't come in this way. You have to stop your fisq first, and then expect guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So although the message was so clear, yet some of them were misguided because of their own evil deeds. So Isa alayhi salam here continues his speech and he says, قال إني عبد الله, I am the servant of God. آتاني الكتاب, he gave me the book. وجعلني نبيا, and he made me a prophet. وجعلني مباركا, and he made me a man of barakah. Wherever I am, there's a growth, there's something good, there's barakah, there's a blessing there. وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت, wherever I go. And this also shows that he will keep going from a place to spread his blessings. And that's why in Arabic we call him Masih. Masih means someone who wipes. One of the interpretations of Masih is someone who wipes the land with his steps. He steps and goes to every place. And Masih Isa alayhi salam, according to most of the traditions, he was not having a house. He keeps moving from a place to a place. And when he is asked by his disciples, why don't you take a house? He says, my house is with my Lord. It's not here, in the second kingdom, not in this kingdom. قال قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة. And he commanded me to take care of salah. Even Isa alayhi salam is commanded to establish salah. والزكاة, and to make charity. ما دمت حيا, as long as I am alive. Means being dutiful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a lifelong duty, even on the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the Quran gives us these points about Isa to show us that he was not a God, he was a human being. If he's a God, why should he make zakah? Why should he make salah? In other verse, it's even more clear. Allah says to addressing the Christians, Allah says, don't you see that he walks in the street and eats food? How can a God eat food? So simple argument. Nothing could be simpler than this. And the Christians, they themselves narrate in the book that he was having the Last Supper before being crucified. So why is he having that supper, when he's a God? God never eats. If he eats, he's not a God. وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي, and he also commanded me to be just with my mother, to be dutiful towards my mother. So this is his mother, his real mother, and this is not a goddess. This is a real mother of Isa alayhi salam. وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا, and my Lord didn't make me jabbar. Jabbar means someone who harms others, and shaqiya is a person who's wretched, unfortunate. That's shaqiya. So he's saying that I'm not shaqiya, I'm not jabbar. I'm not a person who's misguided, I'm not jabbar, I'm not a person who will break people and destroy people and trouble people with his might. وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ وُلِدْتُ, and may the peace of Allah be upon me the day in which I was born, وَيَوْمَ أَمُوتُ, and the day in which I will die, وَيَوْمَ أُبْعَثُ حَيًّا, and the way in which I will be resurrected. Now, this is not the resurrection for which happened after 3 days of his death, this is the resurrection which he will have in the day of judgment. So here, all the characteristics of a normal human being are being shown about Isa alayhi salam. وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْهِ, that I need the peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I invoke the peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day in which I was born and the day in which I will die. So if he's a God, why should he die? وَيَوْمَ أُبْعَثُ حَيًّا, and the day in which I will be resurrected. ذَلِكَ عِيسَى ibn Maryam. This is Isa ibn Maryam. قَوْلَ الْحَقِّ الَّذِي فِيهِ يَمْتَرُونَ. This is the truth about him, a matter in which they have doubts. يَمْتَرُونَ means they have doubts, and this is the truth about it. And these are the lines of Quranic verses which were recited before. Najashi, the Negus of Abyssinia. And when he heard these verses, he embraced Islam and he sent a letter to the Prophet ﷺ that, O Muhammad, if you want me to come to Medina to serve you and wash your foot, I'll come there to serve you. The Prophet ﷺ, now see how it affected him. He converted to Islam after hearing these verses, which is bringing him to the truth. And these Africans, because they were very close to these Aryans and others, they were having this, this closeness to the real message of Isa alayhi salam. So when he heard this, he embraced Islam and he continued in his Islam. May Allah have mercy. And when the Negus died, you all know that the Prophet ﷺ made Salatul Ghaib upon him. This is how the Messenger of Allah is giving respect to this guy. ذَلِكَ عِيسَى ibn Maryam قَوْلَ الْحَقِّ الَّذِي فِيهِ يَمْتَرُونَ. This is the truth about the story of Isa ibn Maryam, about whom the people have a confusion. مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدٍ. It's never appropriate for Allah to have a son. مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدٍ سُبْحَانَهُ. Glory be to Allah. إِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. If he decides to do a matter, the thing which he says is kun, be, and it becomes. So we'll stop here inshallah. And I would like to thank all of you for attending this session. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah benefit us from the verses which are revealed in the Quran on different matters, and reward us for attending this session. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.